Greetings. My name is Johnathan Casoni. I am the Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Team Lead for this project. Today, I would like to discuss with you an exciting opportunity to optimize our organization's existing business and marketing strategies. This project explores the significance and impact that customer segmentation and web and marketing data can have on improving Apple's marketing strategy. These topics are what I plan to cover for this presentation. Considering this project's business problem verbatim, this project explores market segmentation data and web and marketing data within the electronic retail industry with the intent to identify and to present recommendations to improve Apple's marketing strategy. Regarding the benefit of this project for the business, by analyzing trends and patterns related to customer characteristics, behaviors, and preferences, Apple can optimize its marketing strategy with targeted marketing campaigns and intentional resource management. Furthermore, considering how this project's analytical goals align with Apple's mission and values, this project analyzes sample data to identify solutions to reach more customers, which will be discussed further within this presentation. For the data preparation process, I chose to use Draw.io, which is a free online diagram software to develop a data flow diagram, and Python, an industry standard tool using an Anaconda Navigator environment, and Jupyter Lab to prepare the data. As suggested, I decided to use sample data derived from Kaggle for this hypothetical use case, since corporate data can be difficult to obtain due to proprietary and paid restrictions. Therefore, the customer purchase behavior electronic sales data dataset originally included approximately 20,000 rows and 16 columns of data records, while the website traffic dataset originally included about 2,000 rows and 7 columns of data records. Collectively, the data consists of customer demographic information, customer purchase information, and web traffic information. With this data, I noticed that there was a significant difference between the number of data records between the two datasets, and that I needed to decide on whether I wanted to take a sample of the larger dataset or to duplicate data from the smaller dataset. Those were the two options that came to mind first. With these options in mind, I chose to conduct simple random sampling to take a 10% sample of the larger dataset containing customer demographic and purchase data, which aligned the number of data records to 2,000 data records and maintained the natural distribution and variability of the data. If I had duplicated the smaller dataset to enrich the sample for future data analysis, the duplicate entries could have introduced bias and could have skewed the distribution for the data, not to mention that artificial inflation can lead to overfitting. As mentioned, I used Python to clean the data and to check for any data quality inconsistencies. Besides removing data fields that I did not plan to work with, I did not find any significant outliers, missing values, or data type mismatches. Considering the specifics of the data preparation process, you can find more information within the final report. Since the two datasets did not have any common variables natively, I decided to combine the datasets by row index. Although I was able to combine the datasets by row index, this method does not always work as intended. Potential limitations associated with merging datasets by row index include duplicative data, misalignment of datasets based on the type or number of attributes, and scalability for future research. With these limitations in mind, the data was combined successfully for the preliminary data analysis, which I'll touch on in the next few slides. Considering the complexity of the data relevant to the retail and technology industries and Apple's marketing strategy, this data flow diagram illustrates potential connections and relationships between the data. Furthermore, based on iterative processes and stakeholder feedback, this data flow diagram incorporates preliminary data structures in the form of sample Python dictionaries, which show how the customer and web and marketing data is represented in code, bridging the gap between conceptual design and implementation. Walking through this diagram, a customer, identified by a specific customer ID, age, and gender, can access Apple's website either as a guest or as a member using his or her user credentials. Once a customer accesses the website and views different products and pages, the web and marketing data fields will be recorded as part of the product search bubble. Additionally, as customers view different products and toggle different features within different website pages, the system will verify with Apple's supplier and return the respective inventory statuses, such as the product type, quantity, and ratings based on product availability. Once satisfied with a product based on product type, quantity, and total price, the customer can add the product to the shopping cart or bag as referred to by Apple. Then, considering the respective product fields, a customer can select a shipping type and payment method, which undergoes a validation process by the customer's financial institution before completing the checkout process. Once the checkout process is complete, the system notifies the customer with the respective order details. So this diagram is helpful to understand the flow of data, but also the connections between the different steps within the flow of data. Moving into the preliminary data analysis, I used Python to understand the data on a deeper level, conducting descriptive statistics for customer demographic information, customer purchase information, and web traffic information, which contributed to developing a foundation for the aggregated data analysis and data visualization. Therefore, these visualizations represent the various distributions for each of the variables. Some of the variables represent normal distributions, while others represent positively skewed distributions. Moreover, these distributions, complemented by the respective descriptive statistics within the project report, reveal typical or expected values for each of the variables based on the mean or median values, respectively. These visuals are the remaining distributions. Transitioning into the aggregated data analysis and visualization, I used Python and Tableau to visualize the data relevant to the following study questions and considerations, to extract actionable insights that can be applied toward optimizing Apple's marketing strategy. I'll pause here for just a moment to allow you to view these study questions. Starting with the cluster analysis, I wanted to see how customer engagement affects conversions, grouping data into 3 clusters based on the total price and session duration. Considering stakeholder feedback, I wanted to elaborate on how the number of clusters was determined. I originally used the elbow method in Python and found that the right number of clusters was 5. However, when I visualized the clusters and generated the respective metrics, the results did not produce meaningful insights. Therefore, through trial and error and subjective judgment, I found that 3 clusters produced the most insightful results as illustrated here. As a result, I can conclude that more than half of the sample population spends about 2 minutes on average on Apple's website during a session and spends approximately $1,700 rounding down to the hundreds. Therefore, considering that various factors can affect this cluster analysis, I would recommend optimizing UX features to streamline product conversions, specifically for cluster 0 due to its spread of data. Looking at the middle bar chart, one of the resulting insights included that there is a significantly larger spread between male and female customers' page views relevant to headphones, which could be the result of social media influence, seasonality, sports, etc. Thus, I would recommend incorporating social media influence and the roles of specific celebrities into Apple's marketing strategy to enhance brand perception and to promote specific products. Last, looking at the bar chart on the right, the most significant insight was that customers that arrived through paid or social traffic sources likely did not have an Apple ID, which leads me to recommend investing in creating high-value content on Apple's website, investing in search engine optimization to attract customers, and improving social media content. Taking a look at the top bar chart, the most noticeable insight is that headphones and tablets are the lowest performing products across customers. Therefore, my recommendation would be to invest in marketing campaigns surrounding these items to attract more business from both male and female customers. Looking at the bottom bar chart, I found that the product itself does not cause customers to leave specific pages due to similar ratings and higher or lower bounce rates. My assumption is that the bounce rates are related to external factors, such as the website's quality and/or content relevance. Thus, I recommend improving the UX for the website. Last, looking at the heat map, I was able to conclude that social and direct traffic sources drive the lowest quantity of purchases, which leads me to recommend improving Apple's social media management and customer outreach programs. To summarize, I created a data flow diagram to illustrate the connections and relationships throughout the data. Within the data preparation phase, I conducted simple random sampling to take a sample of the population, and I combined the data by row index. Within the preliminary data analysis, the significant items included developing distributions and identifying typical values associated with the variables. As a result of the aggregated data analysis and visualization phase, my recommendations to improve Apple's marketing strategy include optimizing UX features, investing in search engine optimization and targeted marketing campaigns, and improving social media management and customer outreach programs. The limitations associated with this project primarily lie within the data itself. I would recommend incorporating more continuous variables and seasonal data to analyze relevant study questions and considerations that can influence customer purchase decisions and web and marketing fluctuations. For future work and research opportunities, I might consider looking into the integration of AI and ML models to optimize data processes related to data collection, preparation, and data validation. Further, based on discussions throughout this course, I'm curious to see how generative AI could be used to complement or replace data preparation, analysis, and visualization for a similar project idea. Reflecting on the most difficult and most interesting experiences within this course, I would say that the most difficult experience was selecting a project idea, considering the wide variety of topics across every industry and my interest in many relevant topics. As far as the most interesting experience goes within this course, I would have to say that I have thoroughly enjoyed the theme discussions. I think that the theme discussions have been productive, and I have enjoyed researching information on these topics. Within the MS-ISBA program, the most difficult experience has probably been learning new tools and capabilities. However, I have enjoyed the challenge, and learning how to use these tools, such as Python, JMP, Tableau, etc., has only made me a better analyst. I would say that I am more confident in my ability to translate data into actionable insights, which is extremely useful for my new position as an operations research analyst here in the next few weeks. I think that the most interesting experience has been the ability to collaborate with students and professors from different backgrounds and levels of experience, from different industries, military, government, international, etc. To close, this list includes everything I have covered today. I appreciate the opportunity to present on this topic, and I hope that we can accelerate Apple's marketing strategy based on these recommendations. Thank you so much.